What's up guys, Malex here bringing you my 64 Dragons Roar, and this is my PC version, and I have moved over to the PC version of the game because I've got better recording equipment and I kind of like it better on the PC with the way it controls and reacts compared to the Xbox version, and you can get a bit more interaction with players through the chat system while actually playing. You know, there's voice chat, but you can also type to each other back and forth, so it's pretty good. So moving along, Burst Lightning, 1 cost for 2 damage, Kicker, total of 5 land, deals 4 damage. It's not the greatest, but I do like it. A lot of people think different compared to me. Disfigure, it's a 1 cost swamp, neg 2, instant cast. It's very good removal. You keep all 3 of those in, I like them. Dragon Master Outcast, you don't want to play him turn 1 or 2 or 3. You want to get him out maybe turn 5. That way when you lay your land on the next turn, you get your dragon. Your 5, basically 5/5 dragon creature token when flying onto the battlefield at the beginning of your upkeep when you control 6 or more lands. So he's great. Earthquake, this wins me games. It does win me games. It's a very good card, you just need to know when to use it. I mean, you got to take for account things that deal damage upon death, or I think Tephroderm as well. That can hurt you. So you just need to play this and be careful with it, and you can win a game. Festering Goblin, like the Goblin Arsonist, upon death deals neg 1, whereas the Goblin Arsonist can deal 1 damage to the face or a creature. This is neg 1, so it's the same thing except it doesn't go to the face. So it can kill dudes, and you can use it as a really good chump blocker and basically a good defender in any circumstance. People don't want to lose creatures and they won't come up against this. Dragon Fodder, I keep all 3 of these in because it's a 2 cost and you get 2 1/1s, and they go well hand in hand with the Devouring Dragon, which I'm not sure if I actually kept both of those in, but they're all in. The Goblin War Driver, I like this guy. He's got Battle Cry, he's a 2 cost, and he's a 2/2 himself, so he's actually not that bad. So, say you got 2 of these out, you lay this guy, on your next turn, you're swinging in for 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 damage. So, dragons can get in there pretty early. Pyroclasm, this wrecks your side, but it can also wreck things like elves and the token decks. So you just got to keep in mind that though this will fuck up your opponent, this will also fuck you up. So just, you know, with things like that in Earthquake, just use them correctly and you know, just don't misuse them. These, I like these. I keep both of them in. They make things cheaper. 1 less, you have 2 of them out. Things like Crucible of Fire become a 2 cost, and that makes your dragons bigger, +3/+3. So if you have 2 of these for a 2 drop, it's pretty good. Slavering Gnolls, I like this over the Piker. I mean, they got the same power and toughness. However, the Piker doesn't do things, whereas the Slavering Gnolls, whenever Slavering Gnolls deals combat damage to a player, if you control a swamp, you may have that player discard a card, and it is random, they don't choose the card. So I keep both of these in as like a evolved version of the Piker. A lot of people hate Assassinate because it requires your opponent to have something tapped in order for it to work, and it is a free cost removal. However, it takes care of Gideon's Lawkeeper and that that zombie that comes in tapped. Those things become really strong when the zombies gets rolling. So what else we have? We have the Dragon Speaker Shaman, and this guy is really good. People only keep 1 in. Sometimes people take them out because you have the Ruby Medallion. But this guy he makes your dragons cost less, so things like Furnace Whelp, they become cheaper as well. So, you know, this guy's really good. And he's a 2/2, but you never swing with him. You never swing with cards that bolster you like this, making things cheaper. I mean, you can think of dragons as sort of a wall deck, like Dark Ascension, is it? What? It's the black-white deck. I mean, you build up your defense. You've got all these things like these Death Touch Scorpions and those 1/1 swamp zombie goblins that deal neg 1 upon death. I mean, you wall yourself in and then you bring out the big guns. So both of these. giant scorpions like the Neg 1 goblins, these kill things, and they're very good. They're 1/3, so up to maybe turn 4, these can serve you pretty good before your opponent starts getting out the bigger things and the flyers. So both of these are in. Also, if you notice that I have 9 swamps, I've kept in basically all the black. Crucible of Fire, it's a 4 cost, and a lot of people don't like it simply because of its cost. And you know, this is a dragon deck, and the longer you last, the more bigger dragons you get out onto the table. And why not make them bigger? I mean, this can cost basically 2, one mountain and a colorless if you have both the ruby amulets out. So I don't see a problem with this being in my 60, but it's all personal preference. Out of the 3 Furnace Whelps, I only really found room for 2, because sometimes you'll get an opening hand and you'll have all 3 of them in, and you throw it back and you've got it's just a mess. So I just keep 2 of them. I mean, it's basically a flying fiery hellhound. Gravedigger, he's for his cost, 3 colorless and a swamp, he's pretty good because he gets things back out the graveyard. So if they've killed your Furnace Whelp, you can go get it back when you need to, and both of them as well. Simply also because of the swamps, that's why they're in. I keep both Breath of Malphegors in because, well, it's like a lava axe, and the art is just badass. So yeah, no need to explain. And then both of them as well. Voracious Dragon, I only kept 1 in because by the time you've laid him down and you've got maybe all 3 of your Goblin Fodders played, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 damage you can launch at your opponent using the Voracious Dragon. He's a really good card, but the only reason I only kept 1 in was because once you've used him once, he's not really good a second time, so only 1. Flame Blast Dragon, he was in the old game, I really liked him, I've taken him out, put him back in, he's a bit expensive, but for what he does, he's worth it, and he's a 5/5 as well, so he's not exactly a weak card. Hellkite Charger, this can win you games pretty easily. I mean, if you're playing in like a 2-headed giant scenario where you've got Realm of Illusions and dragons together, and they use Time Warp, and you can play this guy, and then get, basically I think it's 3 attack steps you can have in total. So yes, this guy wins games. And finally, Malphegor. People don't like this card, but he's really good and underrated. I mean, you're making your things cheaper as you progress through the match. So, you know, he comes down for maybe 4 total, 2 mountains and 2 swamps. So that leaves you with a couple cards left in your hand. So say you play him with 4 cards left in your hand, your opponent has to discard 4 cards from the battlefield, which isn't a small deal. I mean, do you want to lose your cards? If someone played that against you, you'd be a little pissed. So I like it. And he's also a 6/6 for 6. But he can be cheaper. So I don't really see why people don't like this guy. And he does stuff. So this is my 60. I'm going to put up some gameplay soonish.